Hello, class. I want to record this video to explain assignment 3, I believe. That's the ad hoc simulation. And most of you guys did a good job filling out the tables for all the 20 customers. And here I just want to demo how to input different formulas for different cells if you wanted to automate the data entry for this assignment. So if you remember, we filled out the first 8 rows. Then once we start row 9, we start to generate a more random number between 1 to 6 for both time between arrival and the service time. You can certainly generate just by, throw the dice here and plug in a number. But what I'm doing here is I enter the formula for this cell, B11 is equals to random between 1 to 6. So it's automatically generate a number between 1 to 6. Okay? So then the next cell, your time between arrival is 6. All right? That's a random number generated by the machine. So this number should be the previous arrival number, which is C10 plus the 6 which is generated. Okay, so that's 34. Now for this one, I create another random between. If you click on that, that's random between 1 to 6. I try to simulate how long a service will need it for this customer. So if you hit enter, just remember every time I hit enter, the system will refresh, a new number will generate it for us. So now we know, the time between arrival for now is 5, the service time is 4. Those are random number, and arrival time is 33. So we need to decide when the service time begins. So the rule here is if the arrival time is larger than the previous service end time, we just use the arrival time as the service start time. However, if the arrival time is smaller than the previous time service ends, we just if it's smaller, we just use the time service ends here. So it's really we need to do is between this cell and this cell, we need to compare them. The previous for the customer number 8 time service ends, and when the the new customer arrives for customer number 9. So if you look at a formula, it is we use an if statement parenthesis. We compare C11 to F10. So if C11 is larger than F10, which means the customer arrival after the service ends for the previous customer, you use C11, which is this number. On the other hand, if they're equal or less, we use F10. So whenever the server become available, it will start the next service. Okay? So that's for the formula here. So most of you guys, even if you implement the formula, you don't have this one, because this one probably is a little bit complicated to implement. But I think if you want to get a full credit for the extra credit question, this needs to be implemented. So the rest of it is easy to understand. So service ends is basically service begin plus the service time. So you can see the formula is E11 to D11. It's right here. Then the next one, So time in the system is basically the time the system ends minus the arrival time. So in this case, it's F11 minus minus C11. Okay, so that's time in the system. So F11 minus C11. Then the idle time is basically just to compare, the service E11, which is the service begin time, minus the time the service ends for the previous customer. Okay, so just this number comparing to this number. So you compare E11 to F10. So E11 is when the service begins for this customer, and F10 is when the service finish for the previous customer. So if there's any time difference, which means the server is idle waiting for the next customer. So in this case, they are the same. So that's why it's 0. And for timing the queue, it's really compare, the service starting time minus the arrival time. So in this case, the service starting time is 31, the arrival time is 29, and the formula is E11 minus C11. So once you have these lines filled up with the formula, then what you can do is just drag them down. It will automatically update the rest of cells for you guys. And also for the formulas to calculate some of performance variables. So for average timing system, it is the average timing system, which is G, the column G, and divided by the sum divided by count. But certainly, if you want to use average, that's fine too. So you can say that's average F3, no, G3 to G22. That should work as well. Okay, so we can check it. So it's the same number. All right. So what I'll do, I'll just leave the formula here, so you can see that. All right. Then, so for the percentage idle time is, during the whole time when the system is running. So the system will run for 70 minutes in this case. Time service ends at 70. Start at 0 and end at 70. And how much time the server is idle. So you needed to find out how much time the server is idle in total. So basically, it's the sum of H column divided by total time, which is F22. So the formula should be sum of H3 to H22. That's all the time. The server is idle divided by total time. So in this case, the calculation should be 0.0959, and yours might be different. All right. So what I'll do, I'll just highlight this and copy. So I'll copy. Oh. So I'll copy, paste the formula here. Okay. The average waiting time per customer, it's basically the average of the last column, the column I. Those are the time in queue, which means once you're in queue, you're waiting. So the formula is the average I3 to I22. All right. And the last one is average if. We wanted to only count those who really waited, not everybody. So we use average if I3, I22, but we need to put a condition. We only count those with a value larger than 0. Larger than 0. All right. So that's the formula for the last one. Let me open up a little bit so you can see. All right. So that's this is also key for the entire assignment. Some of you, because when we did demo in the classroom, we don't have all the data, so I use H9 or H10 as example. But if you don't update to H22, your calculation basically is wrong, so you got some point of deduction. And for those of you who implement all the formulas, if you didn't implement the difficult one, which is the if statement one, you get a 1 or 2 point deductions as well. So overall, I think everyone did a good job, but I just want to make sure you understand how you can calculate some of the answers and where you got things wrong. Okay? All right, so that's it. Bye-bye.